Hi everybody, it's Monday night. Welcome to the review show here on ABTV. I'm Ali Beg as I look back on the Hibs draw from Easter Road at the weekend. What did you guys think? Personally, I just thought it was all a little bit predictable. Listen, we've got our Premiership status. That was the most important thing. Nothing to worry about anymore with just 2 games left. But I don't know. Just can't wait to get to the end of the season, if I'm being honest with you. But listen, there was one or two positives which we'll discuss with our guests going forward tonight. Looking forward to chatting to a pal of mine from New Orleans who also watched the game on Saturday. And so much talk about Calvin Ramsay over the weekend, so much newspaper speculation. I'll be talking to North Sound's sports editor Dave Galloway to bring us the very latest. And on this day, back in 1983, the St Clair ferry left Aberdeen Harbour for Sweden. I've got 3 very special interviews coming up a little bit later. But let's start with the game, and let's start with the match stats. Just under 15,000 at Easter Road on Saturday, 47% possession for us, 8 shots in comparison to 17 for the home side. More worryingly, only 2 on target, and we won 4 corners over the piece. So, as I just mentioned, we're safe, nothing to worry about. St Johnstone next on Wednesday at McDermott Park, and then we finish at Pittodrie against St Mirren. What did the manager have to say? He was very honest, as always. We've secured our place in this league now, but let me assure you, that's not an achievement we're celebrating. We didn't come to Easter Road for a draw. We approached it as a game that was there to win. He also mentioned about Calvin Ramsay and why Calvin wasn't there. Thank you to Scott Baxter for the use of these pictures. He said that Calvin had a niggle and he didn't want to risk him. Let's hear what Dave Galloway had to say on the matter. Right, Dave, it's great to see you. Thanks again for being with me. So tell me, what's your understanding of the Calvin Ramsay situation?
Well, to be honest, Alan, there's been so much speculation. I think your guess is as good as mine. I think it depends who you listen to, but certainly most of what I'm getting is that Liverpool are very much the favourites to sign him, and on the face of it, that would appear to be a win-win for both the player and Aberdeen Football Club, wouldn't it? Because Liverpool are a wonderful football club, a great institution. He obviously wouldn't go there and go straight into the first team. He would be understudy, obviously, but there's a lot of good defenders at that club, and he would certainly learn from perhaps some of the best in the world. Of course, over on the other side, over on the left-hand side, you've got a certain Scottish defender, Andy Robertson, and to learn what it's like to be at a huge club like Liverpool from somebody like Andy Robertson, who, remember, has come up. He's done it the hard way, hasn't he? He's come up Queen's Park, Dundee United, etc., etc., eventually at Liverpool, and he's shown what can be done, and I'm sure that would be tempting for Calvin as well. Very tender age, he's still a teenager. He's certainly got the ability. Every player has his price, and Aberdeen will have to go with whoever comes up with the most realistic price. I mean, he's going to go. He's not going to stay. We know that. Will it be the continent? Will it be Liverpool? And there's all sorts of figures being bandied about. But if it's £5 or £6 million, as we're hearing, then Aberdeen, I think, would be daft to turn that down.
Okay, let me get your thoughts on the game on Saturday against Hibs, 1-1. What was your general feeling about the game and the performance?
I think ordinarily a 1-1 draw away at Hibs wouldn't be seen as being too bad. But if you look at the season that Aberdeen have had, the season that Hibs have had, it's been underwhelming in both cases with a big capital U. Aberdeen got their noses in front. It wasn't a striker that scored, it was David Bates, would you believe? I cannot remember the last time he scored a goal. He took it very, very well. He took it like a striker. Great turn and shot. I'm thinking, where's that been coming from? Do you know what I mean? But Aberdeen just couldn't hold on to it. And in the end, it just all fell away again. And I think that sums up Aberdeen's, campaign. When on the rare occasion they get their noses in front, they can't hold on to the lead. They often don't start games well. They lose the first goal, and then they're chasing, and they can't catch up. I just think all Aberdeen fans everywhere will just be wanting to get this final game of the season at the weekend out of the way. And then, my goodness, what a big job Jim Goodwin has got in the summer. I mean, he alluded to the fact that basically what influenced his starting 11 was he only wanted to start with players who were definitely under contract and would be there next season. He said at least 6 of his 9 substitutes were not going to be at Aberdeen next season. I think that says it all. I think it's a huge clear out, and by his own admission, Jim Goodwin didn't realise how big a task he was taking on, but he knows about it now.
Yeah, he certainly does. Dave, as always, thank you so much, mate. It's great to see you.
Thank you very much, Ali. All the best.
Speak to you soon. My thanks to Dave. So how did the newspapers react? Here's a few stories that I've picked up this weekend. Aberdeen players given stark warning as manager Jim Goodwin reveals tension and frustration. The Press and Journal had a really interesting analytical piece on Dante Palvara. Midfielder Dante Palvara proves he can make transition from American college football to the Scottish top flight. I personally thought he did okay, actually. I liked the way he wanted to get on the ball, liked the way he was always looking for the positive pass forward, wasn't scared to get stuck in as well. I thought it was a very good opening 45 minutes from him. I think he'll start again on Wednesday. Let's see. And then obviously the Daily Record reported over the weekend that Calvin Ramsay to finalise £4 million Liverpool transfer as Aberdeen rising star nears Anfield move. Just let's get some social media thoughts on this, because do you know Fabrizio Romano? He's got over 1 million followers on Twitter. He's always tweeting about possible transfers in football. Well, he's tweeted about Calvin Ramsay. He said Liverpool monitored Calvin Ramsay last week against Dundee. He's considered a top talent for present and future. Talks ongoing about fee and potential contract, still not fully agreed. There were reports today that fee could rise to 6 million with add-ons as well. How did you guys respond to the actual game? Don's Daily. Overall, a decent performance. McCrory, Bates, Gallagher and Barron all playing for the badge and putting themselves in danger. Palvara looks exciting. Thought he had a brilliant full debut, and he finishes off by tweeting, really worried by our attacking opportunities, aren't we all? And my mates at the ABZ Football Podcast tweeted today, which made me laugh. Netflix missed a trick by not doing a documentary on the Dons this season. He's absolutely spot on. Right, as promised, let's get a fan's view now. My mate, Terry McDermott, born and bred in Aberdeen, moved over to New Orleans. He's a fabulous singer-songwriter. He's got a new album coming out. He used to be part of indie rock band Drive Blind in the UK. And years ago, he actually came runner-up on the American version of The Voice. I caught up with Terry earlier today to chew the fat about the Dons. Mate, it's brilliant to see you all the way from New Orleans. Thanks for taking the time to speak to me today. Right. I need to get your thoughts straight away on the season as a whole. We've only got 2 games left. What's your thoughts?
Well, it's been a bit of a disaster of a season, hasn't it? I think we all knew it would be transitional after Derek McInnes left, but this is a bit more than a transition. There's going to have to be a complete overhaul, isn't there? So yeah, I think the sooner the season is over, the better for everyone concerned. I think Jim Goodwin needs to get his feet under the desk and really turn over some players. We gotta change it out.
Have you seen much change in the style of play and the way that we play in Jim Goodwin's side if you compare it to what happened when Stephen was in charge?
Honestly, I think there's maybe a bit more tenacity, but honestly, I don't know if that was really the problem. The biggest issue I think still lingers, and that is just this real perpetual individual errors, particularly at the back. I mean, we really are just very, very weak at the back, and it's very hard to put your finger on because it's not as if David Bates and Gallagher don't have some pedigree. So it's a bit mystifying that I think those are the possession stats. I mean, we have a ridiculous amount of possession without really doing anything with the football. So I'm not sure entirely the style of football seems to be the problem. I think the players just need to cut out the individual errors. And obviously, I think we're short of creativity. We're desperately short of creativity.
Mm. How big is this summer for Jim Goodwin?
I think it's got to be make or break for him. I mean, I hate to say that I mean, considering it's his first transfer window, but I think it's fair to say that the patience of Aberdeen fans is worn pretty thin. I think we all jumped behind the Stephen Glass experiment. I don't think it's unfair to say that that's been correctly registered as a failure. So we need a win. We need a victory here, and I think that involves Jim Goodwin really doing what we haven't done for a couple of seasons, and that is excel in the recruitment department. So it's absolutely crucial, considering as well the turnover, the amount of players we're going to lose. It's going to be very interesting to see who we bring in.
It's looking at the time that you and I are talking, it's looking more than likely that we're going to lose Calvin Ramsay. There's so much talk about him possibly going to Liverpool. We're talking, the latest figures I saw is 6 million with add-ons in total, which I think would be a fantastic bit of business. Now, considering he's 18 years old, 39 appearances so far, my humble opinion, absolutely take it. Take it.
Yeah. I don't think we have much of an option, do we? We're not exactly a team on fire at the moment. We need to rebuild. I hate to say it because I think we're all proud of a local lad performing at the level that he's already showing he can, and we want to see him kick on and do great things. I'm sure for whoever he plays for and for Scotland. But I'm sure we'd all like to have seen a little more of him. 39. It's not a lot of time in an Aberdeen shirt, but the reality is we could use the money. We could use the money, and we've got to rebuild. So, and not just that, this kid is, he's exceptional. He really is something special. So we can't pretend that we could offer him the forum that someone like Liverpool can. I mean, that's a different level, different gravy. So,
Do you know, fair play to the boy, because I think he's been fantastic. I think he had a little bit of a dip in form after January. When you're 18 years old and you get clubs like Manchester United and Liverpool and Leeds and Bologna and Italy all interested in you, I think it's going to affect you in some way, shape, or form. But honestly, over the piece, I think he's been great for us.
Oh, he's been fantastic. I think that's testament to the kid's character. I mean, I know people at the club have spoken so highly of him, but I mean, to kind of wade through all this speculation and seem relatively unfazed. I mean, I'm sure we've seen it before many times. We've had very talented young players, and inevitably there's that dip where you lose form, and we kind of expect that. I mean, that's perfectly natural. It's part of the learning experience for a footballer. But he doesn't seem phased. He, for all intents and purposes, he seems to just take it in his stride, which is quite incredible. I think he's going to end up being an absolutely, truly exceptional player. Just hope that when he gets into his early 30s, he comes back to Tawdry and kicks the ball for us again.
Yeah. Mate, just to finish off, I've got to ask you, how's everything going over there? I see that you're gigging a lot at the moment, which is great.
Yeah, gigging a lot more than I was during the pandemic, put it that way. I'm about to go in and record a new album. So, I'm enjoying it. It's nice. It's just nice to be back on a stage again.
Yeah, magic. Hey, fella, brilliant. Thank you so much. Great to see you again.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, fella.
Cheers,
catch up with you soon. Bye, mate.
Yeah.
There you go. Terry McDermott all the way from New Orleans. So if you guys want to get in touch, come on the show, air your frustrations, tell us what you think about all that's going on at Pittodrie. Just drop me a note. You know where to get me. I'm online. I'm all over the place there. Terry McDermott, what a talent. Check him out on YouTube. Follow him on social media. This guy is unbelievable. Right, at this stage in the proceedings, just let me make a quick mention for the guys that support me here on ABTV. Saltire Energy and Lux Scott. Saltire have been with me from day one and continue to lead the way in the oil industry in not just the northeast of Scotland, but across the world. And my thanks to Lux Scott, who have recently come on board a jet-class luxury vehicle company. They have been absolutely superb. There's their contact details. If you're looking to go anywhere in style, those are your guys. Today, the St Clair ferry left for Gothenburg on this day back in 1983. Let's get some stories from some of those people that were on the boat, starting with Kevin Sterling. Absolutely thrilled to be joined by former club historian. Nobody knows our club better than Kevin Sterling. Kevin, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming on. I want to take you back. God, it's such a long time ago now, 39 years. When did you first book your tickets to go on the St Clair, and why did you decide to go on the ferry and not fly?
Well, actually, it was my father, my late father, that managed to book myself on the St Clair because we were still in Belgium from the semi-final. So we were on the train, so we weren't getting home till the Friday. So I phoned my dad from Belgium, and he was quick, off the mark, and he got me a first-class berth booked. My dad worked on the St Clair. That's where he met my mother many, many years before that.
Oh, really?
The St Clair was very familiar to me. I'd been on it maybe 20 times visiting Shetland and as a schoolboy for the school holidays, which was very memorable. So the St Clair was very familiar to me. And like I say, my dad knew very much a lot of the staff that was still working on the P&O at the time. So he managed to get myself fixed up because I think it was quite a high demand. So the opportunity to go on the St Clair was an absolute must. You know, we'd been flown to games, we took a train, we took a bus. We hadn't crossed the water on it, so that was a first for us. That was a definite for me.
Okay. What was it like going over?
Brilliant. 500 on the St Clair. One massive lounge with a stage. That could be viewed with different views because many people got up and started. I think that was the first karaoke I'd ever sort of encountered. Very impromptu. It was quite, you know, because once you hit this a 6 mile barrier, you were now into duty free zones. So the bars were open, and it was a case of, you know, just fill your boots. There was actually 20 of us as a group on the St Clair. It's our football team, our Sunday football team from the Castle Inn. So there was a big party with us together, but the whole trip was just one huge party.
Mm. We'll talk again about the match against Real Madrid. We'll save that for another day. But I want to ask you about the trip home because I've been looking on YouTube at some of the footage and it just looks like the best party ever. Was it like that? Did it feel like that?
Yeah, I mean, going there and coming back, just to finish off touching on the fact we went there knowing that we had a real chance to win the game. You know, and when you think in relative terms these days, astonishing as it was, a team like Aberdeen going to face Real Madrid in the European final, and we knew we had a huge opportunity. But moving on the trip home, of course we were saddened when we lost one of our party, which really put a downer on things. Most people were hugely respectful, and the fact that support on the way home was quite diverse. I mean, it came from everywhere. It came from Aberdeen, came from Glasgow, came from Orkney, Shetlands, and beyond. So there was quite a range of support, you know, throughout, which was very not eye-opening, but very pleasant. And the fact that you know, there was some serious drinking done the way back. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And that, and you could only really experience once. You wouldn't, it was a fantastic experience.
Brilliant.
27 hours of a trip, a voyage, and they actually had to get some more beer helicoptered on before we actually came into Aberdeen, because we did miss the Thursday, of course, when the team came back, and we'd only picked up on what had happened. There was no internet as such. There was no mobile phones. We were just across the North Sea, and obviously the big party was happening with the team coming back on Thursday to the city with all the celebrations. We only sort of touched on that when the beer came out with the Evening Express specials with all the photographs from the Thursday, and that was from we were on our way back, of course. So we were kind of oblivious to it, but like I say, it was just one part. It just didn't stop.
Magic. Hey, Kevin, listen, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time and your memories of that fantastic voyage as well. Take care, my friend. Thank you. There you go. Former club historian Kevin Sterling, who's written many a fantastic book about our club. Glad to see he's looking so well. Okay, let's get on with the next one. Gavin Goodbrand was just a young loon when he set sail for Sweden. Hi, Gavin. It's fantastic to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. Right, let's take you right back. How old were you when you went on the St Clair?
Yeah, so I was 10 years old. I was 11 on the 19th of May, so it was just before my birthday. So it was a bit of a birthday treat for my mum and dad. But the whole adventure was a bit of a story because we originally was going to fly over, but my mum was 7 months pregnant at the time. So my brother Graham would have been inside her. But essentially, my mum didn't want to fly. So my dad had a fishing boat at the time. So his first suggestion was, right, I'll take my boat over. And my mum says, not a chance. I'm not going in a fishing boat to Gothenburg. So the obvious option was the St Clair, and that got booked up quite quickly. And it was a great experience. And my brother to this day still insists he was there.
Brilliant. What's your memories of actually going across on the boat?
Yeah, well, from arriving at the terminal, it was absolutely brilliant because when we arrived to go on the vessel, St Clair, the mass media around the departure, it was unreal. I was, as I say, 10-year-old at the time, and an Aberdeen Teddy, and all of a sudden the media and the journalists were all saying, "Oh, can we take your picture?" So I was up the statue beside the terminal, and they was taking pictures of me, which I never actually knew about until years later when I seen a photo, and I goes, "Oh, never seen that before." And then the actual leaving the harbour was memorable as well. The fanfare, all the other boats, the saluting you as you were going out, and it was a great experience. But I suppose the main one from the journey for myself, and this is the famous one that's actually written in Alex's book. He goes on about a keepy-uppy competition. So each day there was an agenda for the events that were on the boat, and in the evening, centre stage on the dance floor, there was a keepy-uppy competition. I think there was only about 3 or 4 of us actually entered it, and we actually got more than Fergie. Fergie quoted 3 in his book as the winner, and I'm sure I did about 12, but even that was pretty poor. But it'd been mentioned by Fergie in his book in the keepy-uppy competition. And that was the other thing, that the first time I'd seen it again, it was only last year. There was actually footage of that competition in one of the videos of the boat. So that was really pleasing to see as well.
Yeah. So obviously, we all know what happened in Gothenburg, just unforgettable moments. But the trip coming back, I just want to ask you about the trip coming back. I'm guessing it was just one hell of a party.
It was. It was just everybody was on the dance floor, dancing about. Like, I was 10-year-old, I was getting lost in this, but I was getting thrown up into this everywhere. It was just a fantastic party atmosphere. And that was the Aberdeen fans at the time. They seen it as a party. The whole voyage over and the voyage home, it was all non-stop party. And I think the reports were at the time that they drank the vessel dry before we'd even got to Gothenburg, and that they restocked everything. But it was brilliant.
Fantastic. Mate, listen, absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate your time.
No problem, Ali. Thank you.
All right, mate. Take care. There you go. Gavin Goodbrand. Sensational stories. I've got one more to come. But first, just before we speak to Jim, let me show you what he sent me earlier today. This is a collage of photographs that he took while he was on his trip. But can I just point your eyes to the one on the top right? Look at this state of him. Oh, dear. Jim explains exactly what's going on when I caught up with him earlier today. Jim Curry. Jim is with us from his home in Aberdeen. Jim, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for coming on the show today to talk about your trip on the St Clair. Okay, 2 simple questions to get going. How much did the ticket cost you, and where did you sleep?
Well, it cost £130 for the ticket, but that was what they referred to as passage only, and that meant that I had no cabin. It was just a case of dossing down wherever I could. I think one of the nights. I mean, it's handy when you're in the bar drinking till late, and then you can just stay there. So I slept in the bar one of the nights. I think I shared some pictures with you earlier. I don't know if you're going to show those later on, but one of those I actually fell asleep in a deck chair out on the deck. So it was just a case of getting your head down where you could.
So was we've just shown the photograph. So was that photograph on the way to Gothenburg or on the way back from Gothenburg?
That was on the way to Gothenburg.
It was on the way. So you were half tanked already.
Oh, I was. As a more mature man, I'm not proud of this, Ollie, but I think I was fully tanked. It was safe to say. Yes.
Were there many other passengers like that, Jim, who just had this £130 ticket that didn't have cabins? Were there many?
I don't know how it's split between who had cabins and who didn't, but there was certainly a lot of people about. I mean, there was some people who I just don't think slept at all. They just spent the whole night up. I mean, on the way back, I actually spent the whole night awake because I was just sort of pumped after the game that I couldn't get to sleep. So we spent the whole night awake. But there was quite a lot. So there was people in there was like seats, like kind of train type seats. So there was people sitting in those, people just lying on the floor, lying on benches, just wherever you could get your head down.
Brilliant. What was really special for you guys, because obviously you missed the parade at Pittodrie, but the fact that Sir Alex and Mark McGee came to greet you off the boat with the trophy must have been a real highlight for you guys.
It was fantastic because we had no idea that was going to happen. So when we were heading back, people were saying, "Oh well, the parade will be tomorrow, and we're going to miss it." And then the word started getting around that we were possibly getting a meeting when we came back. So Fergie and Mark McGee were down there. Sorry, we've got to call Sir Alec now, have we? So,
yes.
Sir Alec and Mark McGee were there to meet us. So that was fantastic. The cut was sat on a table, and it was funny. I think everybody was quite restrained, and they were just walking past it. And I thought, I'm going to get a hold of this cup. So I said, "Can I hold the cup?" So I got the cup, and I sat stands there with the William Miller pose, and I got my photograph taken. I handed my camera to a policeman, but unfortunately he got a lovely beaming smile at me and cut me off at the arm. So that I think I'll share that picture with you as well. There's no evidence that I was actually holding the cup there. So.
Quickly, just to finish off, Jim. Obviously, apart from the game, your one abiding memory of that trip would be what?
Oh, you should have warned me. I was going to get such a deep question. I have to say, on the way back, as I said, we stayed up all night, and you would have thought that would have been wild partying, but it was the exact opposite. It was almost a sort of take your breath away kind of thing. We just sat there and we played cards all night, and we couldn't really talk about it much. It was so unbelievable to put into words what we'd done, and I think that to me was the abiding memory that we'd just done something that big. It was almost beyond football. You sort of have your time, you enjoy. I mean, one of the big things for any fan is an away day. So to have a 5-day away day was just fantastic to sort of spend that time with all the fans together. But I say the thing that will always stick with me was that journey home when we were just so stunned with what had happened that we couldn't really celebrate like you might have imagined we would.
Jim, absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on. It's great to see you.
Been great to be here, Ali. When I see some of the esteemed guests that you've got, I'm privileged to get on your show.
Oh, absolute pleasure, mate. You can come on anytime you like. Cheers, Jim. Have a great night. There you go. My thanks to Kevin, Gavin and Jim for sharing their stories today. Okay, we are just about done. If you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, it's Ali Beg ABTV. We're trying to build a little community there, so please feel free to subscribe. I hope you've liked the new style. You know, my aim is to make improvements as we go along. Still learning. We're doing our very best, but I hope you're enjoying the product so far. So guys, listen, thank you so much for being with me today, and I'll see you again on Wednesday for Gothenburg Day. Can't wait for that. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now.